Welcome back to episode 4 of Behind That Track. Today, I'm going to take a few hours out of my time, take a few minutes out of my time to look back at one of my tracks that I did maybe a year or two ago now. I almost forget. It's been a while I haven't done one of these videos. It's been a while I haven't looked at this track. But we're going to look at it together today and kind of, do as I've done in the other videos, dissect it, go through it. The differences, as I said, I haven't really looked at this one in a while. And I'm not going to say I forget much of it, but there's parts of it that I forget how and why and where. So going back, looking kind of with that hindsight is going to be interesting. I briefly looked through the file before starting this recording, and already there's so much I would change, but I guess that's part of producing, right? So without further ado, let's get into this track. So the track was called Believe in Me. I released this one after Let's Work, and it was kind of a different direction, with Take Power and Let's Work. It was much more of a darker, I'd say, theme to it. A lot more based on heavy lows and really having that rise and fall and that tension within the lows. With Believe in Me, I mean, this one I got lucky with the vocals, and my mindset going into this one was kind of make more of that pop, that disco pop track, vocals in the breaks, but not in the actual drop. And then the actual drop itself would contain some sort of melody or harmony that would be easily recognizable. So that was my thought process going to this. It was a contrast to what I'd done. I've done songs like this since, and I'm working on one actually now, but it truly is a different path. It is very heavily based on vocals. So without good vocals, it's tough to do this one. And that's kind of, I think, where I worked my way on this one. I think I started with the vocals and worked my way up throughout. If I go through it and look, I know my melody might have came afterwards because they're based off the chords. So let's break it down. Let's look from the start. So the chord structure is very basic. I mean, triads, very basic triads. And I mean, I didn't really need to I didn't want to break my head more. I could have gone for fifths or sevenths or ninths or whatever, however more you want to make those chords progressive and more extensive in their build. But I kept them simple, probably because of the sound that I chose. I didn't want it too complicated. So, I mean, just the chord itself. I'm going to start. It has that like very quick attack. There's almost like a white noise on the attack, but then it still evolves throughout. And I like the progression of it. I remember that I really liked how it would build up. It really built up tension. So I remember that with the lyrics being something that I worked on from the beginning. So here are the lyrics. I don't remember where I pulled these off. These might have been off Loop Cloud, maybe? God knows. But from the start, I know this is where I started. Like that sense of, almost rising tension, rising belief. It was something that, I mean, that's really what got me, like the stepping stone into the song. And then the melody came afterwards. If I look at how I broke it out, there was a shorter, smaller melody here that kind of teases it from the start, and then obviously you get a much bigger harmony within the actual chorus. And I mean, I knew that the melody worked well. Like when I paired it with the chords. Okay, let's not listen to the ARP just yet. I want to listen to the chords, the melody, and the vocals.
Silence around, only my heart is beating. Your goodbye, my body and mind, don't break my feelings. You don't believe in me, don't believe in me. How can I prove it?
Like having that very simple melody start and building in the background was the idea I had in mind already. And I'm pretty sure I used the same. I'm pretty sure I used the same sound. I'm almost convinced I did. And you could see that it's still present, but in the mix, I'm not saying you lose it, but I didn't want it to overwhelm too quickly. You know, like I wanted it to be there and I wanted it to be in mind. And I obviously had a filter on it from the start. So it kind of rises again with the tension, slowly building until that drop. And I think it was only after where I'm like, maybe I need an ARP. Maybe I need something on top of that. And that's really where the ARP came in. So without the ARP, just the melody itself, or the harmony actually, because it was a melody at first and I added the extra notes on top. So it became a harmony afterwards. But if I just do the harmony and the chords, well, the chords changed too. I went to a pad afterwards, so. Again, that melody to me worked. I realize how harsh the sound is now. Maybe going back, I don't know if I'd still do the same one today. But again, you look back, perspective, all that. So, this was essentially had the building blocks to it. I should have and probably could have put a lot more time in the actual drums. I'm learning more and more now that, you know, drums, rhythm, all that is much more important to this genre. I mean, I do have a good amount here. But that said, there's so much to break apart here. The melody was great. I liked how I built up to it. The ARP adds to that as well. You know, like I started off much earlier here, so there's a lower ARP that I use at the beginning. Let's go here. Which kind of replaces the sub. Yeah, like I didn't use a bass until later. And I'm surprised I used them at the same time. I probably had one, I had one sidechain to the other. So this was interesting. I'm surprised that I added that in. So here.
Dark forest, silence around, only my heart is beating.
Like that. I think the low ARP was almost a mistake. Like I had it originally and I liked it, but I didn't want it for the drop. Like you see, I had it here and I deactivated it, and then afterwards just stayed with the higher version of the ARP. So you could see how I actually changed my mind throughout. And I'm curious, how did it sound with the bass? So if I just do the low ARP with the actual bass, because there were bass. I always have a bass separate. They're following the same notes. So thankfully, they're not really canceling each other out, and they are sidechained, or one is sidechained to the other. But I mean, yeah. I remember these bass notes. I kept it super basic because the bass for once was not what I built off. I built off the chords. So these are essentially the bass chord. The root notes in the chords that I basically broke up into eighths. So I mean, this was fun. Probably the first time I didn't put too much focus on my bass sound. Like I said, low end as much as there is still a sub kick and a sub bass, like my low end was not my priority on this song. So that's so spacey. I'm surprised I stuck with that. Again, looking back, always the case. Yeah, it's super spacey. How did it sound in the kick? There. This might have been. Oh no, this I think was the second time I used the sub kick, and I mean I'm learning it more and more now. Maybe it was unnecessary because I don't think they go together well at all. I know which one I use here. Yeah, this was the original. Like this one was too roomy. I should have used another one, and I'm realizing it now. Yeah, I really don't like that sound. Eesh. Anywho, maybe that's why the song didn't do that well. Yeah, so I'm not sure what else I could break down here. The lyrics themselves, I mean, I did chop them up a bit. Like, there is that really long bit, but then you get kind of to that chorus section here where it repeats what you want to hear. This was supposed to be part of the drop. Like when you get some sort of lyrics sometimes off certain sites, there's sections that are made for choruses and drops and whatnot, and some that are made for breaks. That was supposed to be kind of the drop or chorus section, but I saw in it something that I could use to build it up, build attention. This is the repetition of the vocals. Use it with the arp and with the melody, then just completely tear it down, and then come into that melody in full in all its, or this harmony in all its its strength. So. Don't believe in me, don't believe in me. How can we prove it? Don't believe in me, don't believe in me. How can we prove it? Believe in me, don't believe in me. Believe in me, don't believe in me. Believe in me, don't believe in me. Believe in me, don't believe. I'm sorry, I literally let that play and then stopped it right at the good part. I'm sorry. I just remembered a few things. One, that freaking drum fill is, I think, one of the best ones I had downloaded, and I'm so mad that I didn't lose it in the song, but it's such a good oh, it's just great. I might reuse that in another song in the future, but that build, I really like that build. I'm super happy with that. I remember there was part of me that wanted that to be part, this section to be part of the build, but there was something about this that drop off of that, and then that space. I don't know if you could still hear that because I put a delay. I literally put a second channel with a delay on it just to get that sound. Yeah, it was just a massive delay, massive reverb, and yeah, I mean, I could have just put a delay on the actual main here, but I wanted a duplicate and really make that pronounced. So, oh, sorry, I got change something on my mouse here. Is it good? No, it's still too fast. Okay, that's better. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, build-up wise, besides the high arp coming in slowly right before the end of the chord, it's not that complicated of a build, but I really liked a lot of it. I had a snare rise in there. I even had the kick building, this is a lot of stuff that I've noticed that I should be taking from past songs and using them. But again, it depends the genre and what I'm really going for. This was, like I said, was more of a pop vibe, so. It comes back very strong. Like, I gotta say, I didn't like that kick that kick with that bass, but I mean, it sounds. It still sounds pretty strong. I would change it now, but I mean, it was powerful, and it definitely came through. Drums, I'm noticing I actually had some percussion there. Yeah, a slap echo. There's another one there somewhere. No, shaker. Oh, the bongo's here. Yeah. I forgot that I had this. But that's the thing, like I barely used it. I only used it in certain areas, so you don't get enough of it. I should have used it more. It's lost. It's lost in there. It's absolutely lost in there. Well, I guess I'm my own critic for that. Now the B side, I remember I was very happy with my B side. You know, that sounds weird. I was happy with my B side. The B side of the track I was happy with because of how I was able to break down the lyrics into almost a second version, and even build more tension at this part right here. I remember this vividly. Like I used clap echo, vocal echo, to such effect that like I even looking back at it, as much as maybe my drop wasn't everything it needed to be, like I'll go into that in a second. This part to me, like using the clap, which again I'm so surprised I used just one sound for the clap. I mean, it's still one I use today. It's one I like a lot, but I layer at least 4 or 5 on that now, make it much more bigger. But I really like what I did within this break. So. Like I essentially just reused the beginning of the chorus of the lyrics here, where it's, you know, it's that spacious, just, you know, repeat of the same vocals. So essentially I used it to come back to that, but used it again as a kind of a roller coaster to come back, to take you away and then bring you back in. Not with much though. I mean, it was just the clap, the chords, the main chords, and the low arp. But then really what came afterwards was the clap echo. Because I mean, the clap, it ain't great. Like, look, it isn't perfect. Like if I listen to that, it's not perfect at all. You know, that's the echo. It's not that it's not that well. It's not that well connected. It feels disconnected. It's not seamless. You know, it's the opposite of seamless, disconnected. But in the actual mix, like I find it still sounds a bit disconnected. But besides that, going into the second part here, where again I kind of cut up these vocals and chopped them up, and basically added like this whole section here. It's about 8 bars of extra tension in my B side, which I absolutely loved. It's still one of my favorite parts of all the tracks I've made, because it takes something that was decent and makes it that much better. And I almost wish this was on both sides of the track, but sometimes you can't obviously make the A side to B side identical because it's a boring song. And again, the lyrics, like I used that second layer of echoes a lot in the song. I think I saw it in a video somewhere, and it was about the same time. Like you know, kind of like in the moment situations. You know, like whatever was happening in that moment, I was watching certain videos, certain guy was using this a lot. I liked it. And I used it obviously a lot in the song. But you see how it spaces it out so much. And I really like that. It gives me, it still has that bit of that space retro vibe that I had in Let's Work. I really liked what I did with those vocals. Again, finding good vocals is tough, and using them properly is also tough. And I'm probably the last guy that should be saying much because I just have one layer. Like it's not like, you know, it's not like I'm layering different types and different keys and different. No. I mean, who am I to be saying anything complicated about vocals? But I was lucky with these; they worked out beautifully. And I remember this break too, where I built it up and I kind of like held the tension longer than the first drop. Again, I have so many good things about the song that I'm so mad that I wasted. Like just that pause. I've used that before in other songs, but this is the first time I used it to its best effect. And again, I love that fill. So really where I think I might have messed the song up, besides the kick, which I didn't really love, probably should have used a different sub kick or no sub kick at all, was this guitar pluck. Now, I hadn't used guitars to their full effect yet. I was still trying to find, you know, how to use them, where to use them, and they're very prevalent in this disco genre. Now, I kind of forced this one in. I really liked it. I think it was still a good choice for the song. But looking back, maybe I should have done, you know, a longer chorus or just use the guitar in the break and then bring it back in together. Because the B side of the drop, which is about halfway through, the guitar does come in. But I remember I was fighting and with the mixing of this, the sound design of this for so long before releasing it because I was just finding a good balance. And I'm not saying it was a bad choice. I still think it works. But looking back, I don't think I should have left it. I should have just maybe had a different instrument here, or maybe had it in the background more. I don't know. It's too much of a main sound, and it kind of like it clashes with the harmony. And I should have just picked one, you know, like we'll listen to it here. Again, it wasn't terrible, but looking back on it, I mean, there was, I didn't put much effects on it either. Looking back, like I said, I don't hate it, but it definitely is what ruined it. Because there's too much going on, you know. I should have just kept maybe added something different. I really forced it in there, and it still works, but it sucks out, I think, the rhythm of it, you know, the continuous feel of it. It kind of breaks it, and it just doesn't fit right. So yeah, that's probably why I didn't do great. There's many other reasons. Like it's not that great of a song, but overall, I had so much faith in this one. Because it came together so well, and it was really much more of a pop disco for me. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. It's not my worst performing song, thankfully, but it's definitely not. I think I hyped it up too much. So yeah. But anyways, oh, it's true. I did add a second bass here. I forgot about it. This too. Yeah, this is supposed to be the This is initially what I wanted as the sound for my melody. I remember I'm like, I kind of like this, but where can I use it? And it came into the B section afterwards. So. Like now looking back, I probably should have just had that as the B section of my drop, like probably here. Yeah. Because it adds something else to that bass. Well, we live and we learn. So, I think that's it for this one. I mean, what am I at? 25 minutes? Jeez, you guys are going to be probably clicking out of this 10, 20 minutes ago. Yeah, there's not much really to break down. The drums themselves weren't terrible. I think I put too much in that clap echo. If I take that out, it sounds probably... Yeah. That pumping sound was a little too prevalent there. Should have gotten bongos much more involved too. We kind of lose them. What pad did I use? Just want to listen here. Wow. Again, very similar to the chords. It's very, like very. It's very much in the back. It's very dreamy, and I'm glad that kind of works with with the vocals. It's got that sense of having belief or having some sort of motivation, or I'm gonna stick with belief, and I'm glad that worked out. Sound design for that, I did okay. And the main arp, I think it was just the same as the low arp, but just lower. Oh no, it was two different sounds. I remember now. Yeah, that's it. This one I was torn between which one I like more. Yeah. Man, so much of the song was so good, but it's okay. You always look back and always think you could do better, but I don't regret anything because, again, you learn with experiences. So that's what I'm going to keep it at today, 30-minute mark. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like I said, this one is, like my other ones, a little bit less organized because I hadn't looked at this project in a long time, and I almost forgot about it. Like I literally was looking through my YouTube videos. I'm like, there's missing a track in here. I never did a behind the track for Believe in Me. So yeah, that's what we're going to keep it at for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like if you did. Leave me a comment if you didn't, and if you want to see something else, or you want to see a certain aspect more in detail. Today was really just looking at what the sounds were in this song, how it came together, what I liked, what I didn't like. Yeah, I mean, I could break it down more, I could break it down less. You guys tell me. But in the meantime, keep classy. Thank you guys for tuning in.